for me. It was probably about 15 years ago. I had the opportunity to speak in another part of the country to an all African American church. I'd never spoken in an all African American church before, a lot of racially mixed churches, but this was a real special privilege for me. It was a very, very large church. They were pumping overflow into side rooms. I remember the scene. It was a 3.5-hour service. So those of you who whine about an hour and a half service, you need to get a life. I mean, and not only was it 3.5 hours, but afterward they had lunch together. They came back afterward for an evening service. It was the closest thing to family I think I've ever witnessed. It was a wonderful experience. But I'll never forget what happened. My message that day was getting to know your very best friend. I came down off the platform, and the first thing that I said to them was that I was really struggling with racial reconciliation. Well, you can imagine the reaction of my audience. But I went on to say this. I said, look, please hear me. We have more laws on the books today to try to bring about racial reconciliation that have ever been on the books in any country in the history of the world. I asked the question, is law working? And of course, most people would recognize that you need to have laws. Listen, there's really only two ways to govern man, God's way and man's way. God's way is an inside-out process. My heart is transformed so that basic laws governing human behavior, they simply work. But without God, it's no longer an inside-out process, it's an outside-in process, because you're going to need more laws and social constraints, because man without God is always going to go the wrong way.
More of the Men on Target series with Vince D'Acchioli at otm.co.